Eddie Seaver, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Michael. Okay. Hi.
Okay.
Hey, this is Corey and Charlotte. I'm here.
Hi, Corey. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Mike?
Great.
Good.
Ready to go show off at Lowe's?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Thursday. What time you flying in?
We're coming in Wednesday night.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Who's all going to be up there for that?
Let's see. Kelly and Clayton are coming. This will be their first time back, and I think you and Ed and let's see, Corey, Ed, Brent, you, Ed, Brent, and me. I think that's it. Bernstein might come over. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
And yeah, we're doing our last minute get ready for it, of course. But Ed,
Sure.
Ed has them in the palm of their hand. So
That's it.
it's a good trip, though. I think you'll like it, and I think having you guys there is going to be great because a lot of discussion about the real world is what we like to have, how it's really happening out there in the front lines.
Sure.
An opportunity we see and challenges. I mean, we have good open discussions with them.
Great.
Okay, so let's see. Need to go to my. Okay, hang on here. How do I start slideshow? How do I start the slideshow, Clayton? You. Okay, can you guys see this?
Not. I don't see anything, Michael.
Okay.
I can see the code of values.
Yeah, that's what I have up there. Okay. So we're gonna do our short version, and then we'll just get in. I think it'll be a relatively short meeting. Some of it will be a repeat of what we talked about last time, and then answer questions and be on our way. So, okay, we live our code of values by respect.
Live our code of values by integrity.
We live our code of values.
Values by customer focus.
You got it. We live our code of values by having fun in the process. Okay. Handled. Okay. Let's see who we have on the call here. So we got Ed Seaver. You kind of take this down so we know we got looks like Kelly, but she's just listening. Phil, you out there, Phil?
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Stanley. How you doing?
Good. You?
Good, thank you. Okay, looks like Dan, and this is Dan Sandler. Okay, Dana, you're with Phil, right?
Yes.
Okay, hi Dana. We got Corey Fox. We heard Brent. No, is Brent on? Or who's the call-in user? Okay. Okay. Well, let me know if we missed anybody. Oh, Kurt Heino. I see Kurt's on. Okay. We got a couple. Who's on the phone? Who's called in just on the phone?
Nasansky.
Okay, Nasansky. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So, real quick, just since our last meeting, and this is a 2-week period, so you can see it. It's steady, but there's nothing huge here. So I want to make sure everybody knows no one needs to go out and ramp up and worry about buying vans and having, getting extra people and stuff. I'm making the assumption that everybody already is competent at shower door installation. So one of the things we're going to want to follow up with, if you have concerns, we need to know about that, and we need to make sure we get close, stay close to you, and keep Tommy close to you about making sure that you walk into things that you understand what you're looking at and so forth. So since last meeting, we had 9 legacy work orders, 6 PSI orders. This is who they went to. You can see the legacy. Charlotte got 2, Beltsville 1, Catonsville, Maryland 1, Greenville, South Carolina 3, Raleigh 1, and Livonia, Michigan 1. PSI work orders, we had Charlotte got 3, Raleigh 2, which is really good. They're starting to see some activity. Is anybody from Raleigh on the line? Wayne, you out there? Okay. What I haven't found out yet is, what work's been done. I know Wayne's, starting to get some relationships out there, and I think that's why he's starting to see the work. I'm not sure how it came about that. And then we got Glass Dr. Columbia, Dave Mackey saw one. This is an update. Our rollout, as far as when things will be live and active in the Lowe's system. Now, it does not mean everybody's going to know about it and be, ready to get going. That's a process. But we sent out all of the quoters to our contact at Lowe's, which downloaded it into their Lowe's system. He's in the process of doing that, and that will turn live. So they'll have access to the documents on October 31st, meaning the part numbers they use and everything they need to do in their system is available to them. Now, will they know how to do it and everything? Probably not. That will come as we start working on doing webinars and so forth with them, and that will come, kind of as through our grassroots efforts and what we can get Lowe's to do. Now, what I will tell you is last time what happened is we'll be back at Lowe's. We'll probably they'll line up some PSI calls. We'll invite PSIs to a phone call where we'll explain to them who Glass Doctor is and why they should get behind this program and how the program works. We will probably be doing that, that week of that last week of October or the following week. We will talk with them about lining up some meetings that they have groups of people at, and finding out what's available to us there to go do some presentations and some meetings in the market. But what's going to happen is we're going to work with you, probably most likely we're going to work with you attacking, a few stores at a time. Because, so in the past, just you new people, what we did is we said, you need to go out and see all these stores. And although it's not a bad thing to go out and see all these stores, frankly, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work that we can't assure that you're going to have a quick return on. So what we're doing is we're gonna work to just go out and target some stores, and we're going to keep trying to get the word out through Lowe's, through ourselves, and through your efforts. And we'll be responsive to stores that surface and say, hey, we want to learn more. We want to work with you guys. How's this work? We'll try to line up appointments at that point. But otherwise, our being proactive and going and trying to learn who's who and getting to them, we'll do that on a small package of stores that are most convenient for you. So, again, this is a long-range buildup is what it is, but everything will start as of the 31st. We reviewed the market pricing. Now, this was very easy for everybody that had quoters, okay? And they were sent out as of last Friday. And let me explain to you what we did. The quoters that we had, people that had their own quoters that have been built for their own stores in their market, we were able to baseline against that and say, okay, here's our market pricing. And then we were able to build the Lowe's quota on top of that. I'm going to exit out here and go somewhere else real quick. And that is going to be, go Lowe's. And I'm going to show you what we sent out. Okay. So you guys got an email. This one actually went to Tim and Brian Yarborough. Okay. And what's in the emails is this. Okay. It's instructions on how to use the quoter. This is what was sent to Lowe's, and it's the pricing for each one of the quoters at retail. Okay, so this is what we will train Lowe's how to price jobs out of. This is what we will train you to price jobs out of if you guys aren't completely comfortable with how we do it. Okay, and what's in this pricing? Per what we sent out to you, what's included in this pricing is, it is basically, we say, where do we need to be in the market, or where's your current quoter in the market? We take a baseline that's similar to the way you're priced, the market's priced, and then what we do is we build up from there. So because Lowe's is going to take 25% out of this retail price, there's 3% plus 35 that goes to administration out of this retail price, and there's tax included in this retail price. So in that quoter, those are all in there. Cardinal provides an extra 7% discount on this order. So all of these have been taken into consideration when we build your Lowe's quoter. So as you can imagine, it's about 20 to 25% more expensive than your own quoter probably is. Now you can say, wow, will people pay that? You know what? On the PSIs, it's not a problem at all. And the reason is because they're going to a contractor. Contractor's putting 25, 30% margin on it and then turning it in. So it's already in there from the contractor, who's probably, having a glass shop come in and bid for them. That's what we're replacing. And secondly, from the customer, if you go into Lowe's and you buy roofing, cabinets, countertops, the fact of the matter is, these are the kind of margins they're taking out of it from these installation companies. And, they are 20, 25% higher. People just have a comfort level of dealing with Lowe's. Okay. So they still sell plenty of it. But if, for example, if you went straight to a cabinet company versus going and buying your cabinet from Lowe's, it's going to be just like the shower doors. You're going to probably be able to get it less expensive. So our stated measurable objective for margins is that our expectation is that when you sell a Lowe's door and we go and back out the cost of materials, we expect that you're going to end up about within 10% of what your realized margins would be if you sold the Glass Doctor customer directly. Now, for all the jobs we've done to date, we validated that. So that's the way it has been working. So we have no reason to expect it will not continue to be in that range. We were in about a 7%. Again, and remember, that's once you take your net price, the customer price, and you take off 25%, 3% plus $35, and that's after the 25% comes out, and tax. The margin will be within 10%. That is basically your cost for leads and your marketing. So that's why if it's within 10%, it should work for you. And it should be business you're happy to take. So that's how it goes. Any question on the pricing? Well, we got people here. Any question on, I will say, I think, Ed, you can speak to it, that you found out that you actually were able to kind of increase your market pricing on your actual stuff because you became a believer you could get better pricing. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's very fair to say, Mike, and it's always been our opinion that the best thing that's come out of this Lowe's program was that shower quoter, because it allowed us to consistently price our showers and take in the variables that we needed to take, as opposed to using just a flat square foot price. And again, yeah, we went up on our pricing, and people, when you have that quoter in your hand, they go for it. So yes,
right.
It's definitely helped us get more money out of showers.
And Ed is one of those ones. He's done the most volume. His market's the most mature, and he's one of those ones. He's well within that 7% range of margin. It's actually right there with his actuals. It's actually right there. So again, we know the program can and should work. And usually if we run into problems, there's an answer. And it's either a training issue, something was done something wrong on some side. Now, let me tell you our challenges, our concerns, and we'll be expressing them with Lowe's. The PSI jobs are basically 100% sold. So what's the concern there? The concern is communications and lead time, because they're going to sell a bathroom remodel, and the concern is, okay, that's going to be 45, 60 days before we're the last one in to go in and do it. The concern is if you're not comfortable as the expert and you don't know how to make sure that the tile's right and this and that, you can set yourself up to fail. Because if the tile job's terrible and the curb's out and all this and that has to be addressed, just like if you walk into your own shower door. Otherwise, you're going to have a disaster on your hands. And we have to stop and work with Lowe's to say this has to be taken care of. You need to make sure we document everything when we're communicating with Lowe's regarding that, okay? And then we don't have a problem. If we have to wait and they have to fix it to do the shower door, great. If it's kind of iffy and the decision is to go forward, then you need to make sure we know and the Lowe's PSI knows they're directing us to go forward. And the iffiness and the risk of the iffiness is going to be on Lowe's, okay, if they have leakage because of it and so forth. So there's the forms that we send out with this are very important. The pre-installation forms, making sure people know that that's not airtight. There is gaps, and so forth. That's part of the process. Once we get into the process with you, it's important for your own benefit that be executed. Okay. The other concern is that's kind of the biggest concern, and the other concern is just making sure we do a good job of double checking or coaching the PSIs if we find out they're not pricing as expected. Now, we have not seen a big issue there. Okay, we've seen them; they're actually pretty good at it, and we really haven't. We have an opportunity to put in a change order if there's a big difference, and we really haven't had to exercise that to date. Now, on the legacy side, the expectation is that we close 50% of those. And that is where we'll be talking with Lowe's. We're kind of right around there, which is tough because you're going to basically go out there and half the jobs you go to, you're not going to sell. We would like it needs to at least be 50. We would like to get that up, and we need to work to figure out how do we get that up. Okay. But that is kind of the threshold. And if we're closing less than 50, we recognize that that's difficult for you guys to run around and do these estimates. They are free estimates because the $35 detail fee that goes to the administration. Okay. We're way upside down. There's a big investment through the ad fund for administration. 3%, $35 helps go back to help support that, but it's not even close to covering the fact that we've got to have the software available, we've got to have Kelly and Clayton, and we've got the costs associated with that. But if you have questions about your pricing, what's the best to do is take out 3 or 4 of your last shower doors you did, work it up on the quoter, and kind of do the math and see if you would have come in within 10% what you actually sold. You can also, if you have concerns, you can send us the order that you did to this email below. You can send us 3 or 4 of your last shower door jobs, the invoice, what your net invoice was, and you send us what you ordered from the vendor, which would give us all the dimensions and the hardware and so forth. And then what we can do is we can test it for you, and we can either validate that yes, this job would have come right in there and show you how and why. But that's the process with pricing. We're not going to go do a lot of work unless you guys, want to give us the actuals. And if you want to give us the actuals to work with you on, we'll invest the time on our side to validate, to either ease your concerns, alleviate your concerns about the pricing, and or validate that we have some work to do to make it work. Okay, that we got to either work on the vendor side or so forth. We just don't know. We've had to take market pricing and take the assumptions based off what we do know of the overall program and the overall markets out there, how people are pricing their shower doors. Any questions on any of that, guys? Okay, so we have reviewed the market pricing, background checks. We did not get this out when we had hoped. We've got some work to do here, guys. Remember, you cannot go on site without anybody that goes on site needs to be background checked. Kelly is out ill. She'll be back, but what we need to do is we'll be sending out a list. I'll be copied to everybody that says who we're waiting, where we're at. We might be waiting for photos or sign-off forms or whatever, but we're going to really need to zero in on who hasn't given us what we need. We might be waiting on photos regarding background checks to also tell you which ones have passed or which ones are in process. Was someone trying to speak up there? Okay. So that's where we're at. That's the next hottest thing. We've given you your pricing, the background checks. The other thing that's going to be part of that is we spoke the last meeting. We need 3 contacts, phone and emails. And we're going to be setting up a group email for this Lowe's to make sure when something's sent out, it goes to all 3 contacts. Example, when we send out an update or a request for an update or a new PO or whatever, and we're looking for the owner to be on it. We're looking for a dispatcher or who a key kind of the cog in the office to be on it, and we're asking for kind of a lead ISR to be on it, and all of them to get familiar with, knowing what we're doing with Lowe's and kind of what their role is. And we'll follow up with you on that. It starts with the contacts, though. The other thing is tomorrow we'll be sending out an email for a connection to Corrigo that needs to get set up, an invitation, and it'll probably be from Dwyer Service Solutions. And we need to get you connected with Corrigo, which is our platform to where we communicate electronically and so forth. Okay. After we get these 3 done, the background checks figured out, the contacts, and the connection, then we will send you an acknowledgement form, which is the final step, which is the background check policy, uniform policy. You guys need to commit your people will be in uniform. We need to know how you stand with your vehicles, which ones are wrapped, which ones are not. We're not going to disqualify you, but we need to know because we're committed that, we're kind of showing a certain look that our people will be in uniform and they got wrapped vehicles and stuff. We will need to make sure you do the Corrigo training. And then again, when we go into this, it's a 6-month commitment from the launch date, October 31st, and we will need a 90-day window to turn it off if you decide after 6 months that it's not working for you. Okay, and we're going to really, so there is a period of time. Now I'm going to hope what we see happen is this should help you do better. There is a lot of administration and stuff, but it should help us get better on how we do our everyday shower doors. Just like calling back the customer to acknowledge the appointment and everything, making sure we're asking qualifying questions and we understand what we're walking into. We'll be putting those together because it's very important. We don't want you running out there and it not being what you think it is. So there's a very important process on how you work with the leads that come in, because remember, Lowe's is not, they're going to rely on us to be the experts. And on the legacy side, on the PSI side, this is not a problem, but on the legacy side, they may have some people there that are not quite sure how the program works or may get it wrong. So we have to be good about qualifying the customer so we don't run out there and waste time. And it's possible that you can do that, but that's a procedure and a process that we need to help coach you up on and give you scripting and make sure you're asking the proper qualifying questions so that you don't run yourself into that situation. If you just run out there based on getting the lead, if you're not busy and it's close by, go right ahead. But if you run out there without talking to the customer and you don't go through this process, then please don't be overly disappointed if it's not what you thought it was, because we need you to run the process to avoid any trips that waste your time or the customer's time. And we're always available here to help you when you have questions, as are other franchisees that have done the system. That's all I have. That's where we're at. We right now have not decided yet whether we're going to put, we can launch this program with the quoters. The next step is decide what we send to you as far as materials. We will be working on printing those up and deciding how many we print, and the funding for that here in the next in the next week or so. We're probably going to go to a 3-ring binder rather than a bound notebook, but we're thinking right now that we probably send you 3 to 5 rather than a bunch for each shop, because it gets real expensive. And then we'll determine a plan on how and when it's feasible to print some more and put more in the shops. And we'll take it kind of talking with you guys individually and as a group. I don't individually as a group if we think it's worth the investment. I think it is, but again, I'm not going to force that issue. And the way we did it in the past is we did a $5,000 worth of printing, and we put a couple in every shop. But I don't have that $5,000 budget available to me yet. It came out of the ad fund. What happened was, as you sold the door, we took a credit of $40 back per sold door. So you guys did end up paying, but we fronted it, and we're gonna have to determine if we go that way again, because we just don't have that kind of funding available. So we're gonna have to determine how we do this. We can do it just based on the quoters, but it's definitely less effective. So again, I think if we go, I think what we're going to want to work with you is strategically figure out what stores we're going to put these things into and hand deliver them to, but try to generate the interest up front rather than just run around and do it complete. And that's not optimal, guys. I mean, optimal thing is to send you a bunch of books to give to every store and get out to every store. But, someone's got to pay for it, and it's going to end up being you guys are going to need to pay for it. And I want that to be a decision you guys can make with your eyes open if it's worth your while or not. Because I don't want anybody upside down on this program, and I'm willing to let it go slow and build over time to get there, and to generate, where we can honestly and comfortably say it's a no-brainer. You're going to get a return on investment. You need to make this investment to get X back. Any questions? So I know that you got the only other thing is what we see happening is we'll do some trainings on how to use Corrigo. We're going to ask you to do the basic training just so you have a familiarity with it. Because remember, there's other business available to you that comes through Corrigo. Once you're in there, doesn't mean you're going to get it, but it's like Service Channel. There's work in there. But when we get your first work order, whether it's a legacy or PSI, we're gonna be working closely with you on those first few on the processing and the whole process. So we're not gonna tie up a bunch of training time and so forth with you guys, until we start seeing some orders coming through, and then we'll ask everybody that's on your list to be involved with us to kind of walk you through the process with a live order to make sure you understand. We're live working with you and training you. We can do it on web meetings and everything with the actual order in your system and show you our system and everything. So we're actually training you on the process as you have something that you're really working on, rather than it being theoretical.
Okay, I'll have it over in about 5 minutes.
Okay, with that said, I think we like, as I mentioned, we'll be at Lowe's this week. We'll have hopefully a lot more to report, but we'll just keep moving forward. And the most important thing right now is the 3 things we're going to communicate this week. And we don't have anything else we need from you. If you have any questions, use this email. You can always get it to me, but there's this email here that came with your pricing at Lowe's@glassdrk.com. Any questions at all, please send it back, and that will go to Kelly and Clinton, and they will be able to respond to you and or escalate it so we can get back to you, so I can work and get back to you with your concerns or issues or opportunities. With that said, if there's no questions, we'll call it a day. Let you guys get back to servicing the customer. Thank you.